Gentlemen, if you have children and are worried about how your divorce is going to be affecting them, then guys, you really want to stick around for this particular video and put your mind at ease, because this story, it doesn't have an average ending, not by a long shot. Your children's relationship with you is going to actually get pretty awesome, and it's going to have a great ending. So let's discuss. Let's start revving that engine. The biggest casualties of divorce are going to be your kids, and they're going to break your heart. The very idea of them having to split houses is fucking heartbreaking. Now, when I was getting divorced, my kids, they were 2 and 5 at the time, and there came a day when I was forced to accept that staying in such a difficult and tumultuous relationship was causing them harm. The thing is that my ex and I, we just couldn't keep our shit together. The relationship was just toxic now. And it was during one of our shouting matches that my then eldest year-old, who was 5 at the time, he showed me just how much he was being affected by it when he just went downstairs to the most quiet corner of the room, the darkest corner of the room, and just started playing by puzzles. He was crying. I knew then we were causing him harm. It doesn't matter whose fault the fighting comes from. To kids, they just want to have fun and not worry about their mom and dad having to keep their shit together. I didn't stay for the kids. It would have been cruel too. But I also didn't want them to see me as their dad growing up as some form of punk and not having a backbone. To be clear, my kids, they didn't cause the divorce. I did, she did, we both did. But my kids, they were the casualties of friendly fire. Conventional wisdom says that you stay for your kids, but when there's constant fighting, it's a no-brainer. If it's affecting your children's well-being, you have to leave. You can tell yourself all day long that you're staying for your kids, but that's bullshit and you know it. You're not in a miserable marriage, you're in a toxic one. One where you're too busy keeping the peace rather than laughing together as a team. It's affecting your kids and it's affecting your parenting style. The real sacrifice is to leave. It's admitting that you can have a better life, and it's saying to your spouse that you have to leave before you end up fucking up your kids. Plus, you want your kids to see you as an inspiration rather than a devastation. It's embarrassing having your kids think of you as a man who can't keep the peace or control his environment. Now, this next section is going to piss off a lot of women's rights activists along with the algorithm, but it would be negligent of me, completely irresponsible, if I don't address the risk factors that contribute to custody disputes. Here's what typically happens. Your wife, she files for divorce. You get served. You search for the part that addresses custody and find it blank. You have children with a woman that has sole custody from a prior relationship. You're in deep shit. If she's done it once, it's not an isolated incident. It's now a precedent. She knows how the system works and she knows how to get full control of it. If your ex grew up without a father figure, that's another risk factor. Her mom did it alone, so why can't she? The only real exception to that is if her father was deceased. Then it works in your favor because she understands the value of a man in a child's life. She knows what it means to miss her dad. To give you perspective, I did an analysis of my current clients, and of the five guys that I currently coach that are fighting for custody, 4 of the moms, they grew up without a dad. Bottom line is that daughters of single mothers are 2 to 3 times more likely to become single mothers. Now, I'm not saying by any means that 80% of the moms with absentee fathers fight for full custody. I'm not saying that. I am saying, however, that mothers that grew up with good, responsible dads, they don't typically fight you for custody. Let that sink in. All right, so now let's get to the part that you want to hear, what your relationship with your children should be like after divorce. In your prior life as a married man, you were living by her rules the majority of the time. The thing is that mothers, they tend to see their children as the babies that they used to be, so they baby that way. They mother that way. Fathers, on the other hand, for the most part, they're less prone to laminate life. They see their children as the adults that they need to become, and hence they have different rules. A mom, they might want their child to wear a helmet, while a dad, they might want their child to be just more respectful and give them permission to learn about themselves as an individual. Experiment. Suppose you have a daughter and something happens, nothing big, but she gets hurt. But dad might be more prone to say not to tell the mother. Generalities, of course, but then again, my entire job is to establish patterns, to learn about them, and go accordingly. I remember getting into this big, stupid fight because my ex was checking the bathwater. She needed a thermometer, and she insisted on using a ducky thermometer because, as she puts it, do you want your kids to burn themselves, Rene? Now, I'm a grown-ass man with functioning nerves in my fingers, but I went along with it anyways until one day I didn't. I was going to be a rebel, and I didn't use that fucking ducky. Did it behind her back, too, and that turned into a major full-blown argument. All over bathwater. But now that you're a single dad, things, they begin to change. First, you have more ownership. None of that ask your mom kind of shit. It's you and no one else. You have more autonomy. You parent your way. They stay past bedtime? Not a problem. They want to watch a scary movie that she had a problem with watching? You're the boss now. It's not a problem. You've now gained that freedom, and if their mom, they have issue with it, no problem. It's still her issue, not yours. It's not your problem. I'm saying that she had her chance and she fucked it up. Don't let her control your parenting style. Don't give her that power anymore. But vice versa. You can't control her parenting style either. I prefer being a single dad. It's freedom to parent your way. And I'll never give her that much power again to micromanage my parenting style. Never. It's liberating, and you'll see it too. When you have freedom to lead your way, it's a hell of a lot more fun. In a study I did, 58% of divorced dads said that the relationship with their children improved after a year of divorce because that freedom, it gave them permission to learn more about their kids' personalities. Compare that to 21% who said that it got worse, more than double the odds in favor of a stronger connection. For dads who, like me, who thought that the relationship with their kids was already great and couldn't possibly improve, here's the best part. Not only can it improve, but you're likely to be in the group that stands out to gain the most. The fathers that thrive in the divorce, as in they learned about themselves, they scored the best in the relationship with their kids, with 64% saying that they got closer. Only 14% of them said that the relationship with their kids got worse. I strongly suspect that that's where parental alienation comes into the picture. 64%. 2 out of 3 said that the relationship with their children improved or significantly improved. That's a massive difference. You want to do something for your kids? Take care of yourself first. Your kids will follow. I mentioned earlier that 58% of the dads' relationship with their kids improved after a year of separation, and that 64% got better when they handled the divorce well. But what about those dads that just couldn't handle the split so well? They scored poorly. 54% said that it got worse. Only 23% saying it got better. Now, these are the men who let the divorce consume them, the bitterness, the anxiety, the self-loathing, all of the above. And it gets weird for the kids to see a parent dissolve. They don't know how to act, so what they do is they go to the one that's handling the divorce better. But let that sink in. 64% of relationships improved if you're doing well, but only 23% improved if you're not. That's nearly 3 times the difference. Point is that your mental health, it needs to be a priority. When you parent separately, you get to build the environment that you wish that you had all along. You set the tone, you build the trust, and you make the memories. And by the way, in case you're wondering why I'm recording somewhere differently, it's because I started this recording in Miami, but I had to catch a flight to Los Angeles to help my son for college, and I'm actually staying at my first wife's place. So yeah, there is something to be said about the benefits of staying civil for the kids, but don't stay married. If you say you're staying married for the kids and then all of a sudden you go through World War III when you're getting divorced, that's hypocrisy. But you want to build a new, real modern family? This is the new, real modern family. Not that show that aired on CBS, but this one. Just want to give you guys some context though before I continue. I hope this doesn't come out as arrogant, but I've had nearly 200 clients that I've worked with, including those that are facing criminal charges like domestic violence. I've yet to see a single dad who didn't secure the type of custody that he went after. You could be in the worst custody fight with horrible accusations, but if you're prepared, you're gonna have some form of physical custody. And of course, I know that there's gonna be some isolated incidents, but they're the exception rather than the rule. For instance, just a few days ago while recording this video in Miami, a client, he reached out in panic, in dear panic. Prior to hiring me, his ex had hit him with a restraining order, and he challenged it and got it reversed. 5 minutes prior to reaching out to me, his attorney had called him. He let him know that his ex got another order of protection against him. This time it included the kids. Dude was understandably very scared. Rene, he says, she's destroying my life. I'm getting my ass kicked. I'm losing. You know that feeling when you know something to be a fact, but you just don't know how to put it into words? This was one of them because he wasn't losing. I just didn't know how to tell him that her attack was just short-sighted and it wasn't going to go far. He wasn't winning, but he wasn't losing. Understandably so, he felt defeated. He was shaken, sad. I mean, who wouldn't be rattled? Fighting for custody while having a restraining order, that's a huge handicap. Plus, he was scheduled to pick up his kids later that day, but the order said that it was effective immediately. So I have this 24/7 policy where my clients, they can go and they reach out to me for support. He did the right thing and he reached out. A couple of hours later, an entire plan was done on how to get it reversed. Our plan was specific, actionable, timely, and it just felt good. Then he sends me another message. Hey, my attorney just sent me the order. Can you look at it? Sure, I say. Not kidding, less than a minute goes by and I see a section that was completely incomplete. I double checked with AI to confirm and within 5 minutes, I'm like, do you have another copy or is this the only one that was shared with you? That's the only copy, brother. Bro, I'm not so sure this one's enforceable. I think it was declined. You're not being given all of the paperwork. Check with your attorney. Let him know. A few minutes later, he comes back. My attorney says he also thinks it's bogus. You were right. 30 minutes later, dude's sending me videos with his kids. I know that feeling when you realize that you're beginning to see the courts they're listening to your narrative rather than hers. It's powerful. I've been there, and I never want the feeling to stop. A feeling that only one that fought for custody and won can understand. It's nirvana with a shot of espresso. This guy, he didn't only beat the false narrative. It was bigger than the order of protection. It meant that he can now go from deep fear, now just to preliminary caution. Talk about a morale boost. He got his footing back, and later I get a text from him. Hey, Rene, do you think I could actually win this? Now, this guy just a few hours ago was telling me how she was kicking his ass and how defeated he felt. Point is that in divorce, if you're just fighting your ex, that's just all tact. It's much more than that. It's about fighting the system, yourself, your fears, your rage, and doing it all without selling your soul like his ex-wife was doing in the process. Because, man, we don't kick in the balls. We fight above the waistline. The men who work with me, they just don't fight for custody time. They fight to maximize their time. They realize that they're not just fighting against their wife. They're fighting for something better, themselves. Divorce, it doesn't have to make you a part-time dad. It means that you have every opportunity to make this better, to truly bond. It's your chance to do this your way. I don't encourage divorce. It's your last resort, and if someone came to me as a consult wanting to know if they should stay or leave, that's a case I just wouldn't take. I don't fuck with family, and my soul is just way too important. But I do prepare the men for divorce, and if they're gonna have a custody issue, I make sure that they don't fucking lose. I'll fight for them. Now the question is, should you stay for the kids? I wouldn't. Divorce let me show my kids just who I really am. It let me be the kind of dad that I actually wanted for them. There's no love out there greater than a father-child relationship. And the day that I die is going to be a very sad day for them because they're going to lose their best cheerleader. But if you're worried about how this ends, hear me here. It does not end with them hating you. To the contrary, it ends with them seeing you as their hero because you chose to lead. Look, gentlemen, while the purpose of this video is regarding you staying married because of your kids, I wanted to give you an honest look at what you can expect your relationship to look like from a very real and very realistic level. We've all made some bad decisions in our life, and that's why we're here. But me being a single dad was a necessary and intelligent decision. Probably the best I made as an adult. That's because my kids, they ended up healthier. So if you gained something from this video, please subscribe and like. You can also help support the channel by becoming a member and pressing join for only $3.99 a month, because I'm not being sarcastic when I say that $3.99 is a strong symbolic gesture of your support. It just shows that I'm doing something that matters, because the algorithm sure doesn't give a shit. To me, this is more than just a channel. It's a fucking movement. And if you're going through a divorce, make the best decision that you can. Schedule a consult. You wait and you're just fucking up, because it's my job, it's my mission to make your life just much easier during these very difficult times. I'll have you feeling so much better by the end of our first talk. That's how confident I am. While at it, join our Facebook group. I'm very active in it, and you're gonna get some real answers from someone that knows what the fuck they're talking about. And the world is noticing too, because the New York Times, they just released a feature of me as their divorce coach. And that's because it works, because divorce coaching is getting out of its infancy. My prices are highly reasonable, and I've even extended my hours of consultation. Imagine having someone that breathes and lives this, having your back. You want me on your side. The link is in the comment section underneath. Thank you very much.